and I have heard you from previous interviews as well, on the question of River Yala. What would you tell Kenyans about, because this was happening also under your watch, this Ministry of Interior, that you had no sodding idea about these incidences of the retrieved bodies from River Yala?
Immediately it came to our notice. We did what the law required us to do, namely launch immediately an investigation into the matter. By the way, the other day I was joking in my mind about this issue, and I asked it for records because I had got some research assistant to dig up the records, not just on the issue of the River Yala, but how many times I went to Parliament as Minister for Interior to answer questions on forced disappearances, people who had who could not be accounted for, and so on. And I discovered that in my tenure, I had been invited to Parliament 3 times on issues related to the forced disappearances and individuals who could not be accounted for. And out of this, actually, it's only one incident I can recollect when a member of Parliament, I think from the northeastern part of the country, was very accurate on the information that they had on these forced disappearances and so on. You see, the issue is this. Throughout life, everywhere you go, even since we started this interview, some crime has been committed somewhere. The question is not whether or not the crime has been committed. The question is, what did you do when that crime was committed? And then secondly, if really you are in the line to take action at that point in time, what action did you take? And because some of these actions are not protected by the statute of limitation, it can follow you even 20 or 30 or 40 years even after you have left the office. That is why I am the first one to tell people we acted. This matter, I wouldn't not say that we did not know. We got to know about it. All of us in the National Security Council discussed this matter. If you go to the records of the National Security Council, you'll find minutes during which we discussed this matter. The Inspector General of Police, the DCI came on board, the Director of Intelligence then, and everybody. And we concluded at that particular time as a National Security Council that between a public inquiry and an investigation that would file a report, let's open a file and commence investigations on the matter. And as I've said before, we never left, government is acting in perpetuity. It exists beyond the individuals who are in office at that point in time. If an issue has happened, for example, here, and people feel it has not been properly investigated, nothing stops the government from investigating it afresh if they feel there's new evidence coming into it and so on and so forth. On this particular one, I have called for a public inquiry on the matter so that if people have information that's contrary to what I am giving, they make it out in public. Or if people know that there was either laxity or dereliction of duty on the part of those who are supposed to act, they demonstrate it in a public inquiry or they demonstrate it in a public institution. We acted as the law required us to act. It's like people ask me, Dibal, how did you people allow, sometimes I go to meetings and people tell me, where were you when the elections were happening? We don't believe these elections were free and fair. The election could have been rigged. How did you as a government allow, like someone was telling me the other day, you as an explanation, how did this happen? And I tell them, go and read the law and have someone help you understand it. When the electoral period begins, there are powers you will not exercise as Minister for Interior. Elections are a matter of the chairman of the Electoral Commission and the Commission. They begin acting. Under the law, I can't order the chairman of the Electoral of IEBC. If, for example, I also wonder, like in the case of 2022, I also ask the question, why did the IBC suspend the gubernatorial election in Kakamega and Mombasa? To this day, I don't understand. I was not the chairman of IBC. I was not even a commissioner. I didn't have powers to ask the question, or I didn't have powers to force the late Chebukati and his people to do something. There's nothing I could do. The law has got the same shortcomings. It places you within a framework where you have to act within the powers that you have at that point in time. The question is, did you act? Yes. If people feel it was insufficient action, that's why I'm saying let's have a public inquiry.
So you feel it was insufficient from your assessment?
No, the question is, I believe
you don't take responsibility?
I believe we did what we were expected to do. And I believe, let me say this on record, we acted very responsibly, like any responsible government would act. Now, if someone has got contrarily...
What is responsibly? Because if the rivers is, keep on, shoring up the bodies, they're being found time and time and again. What do you characterize as you acted responsibly? And there is no accountability.
If an investigation is going on, you know, Dibal, I want to go over this argument in a very patient manner. You know, if a crime has been committed, you are a responsible person in that particular docket. You occasion an investigation of that crime, and the investigation points you to a particular destination. If the investigation say it is Dibal who killed those people, the law takes over from there, and Dibal is arrested and prosecuted. If, as a minister, I have gone to the National Security Council, and the matter has been raised there by security chiefs, all of whom sit at the National Security Council, we have discussed the matter. Beyond that decision that let this matter be investigated and let the file be open, until the matter has been logically investigated and culprits have been found. You know,
but we have an issue.
I want to be.
Let me just butt in. We have an issue also who is investigating, because we have the National Coroner's Act right now that has never been operationalized. If we had an independent body, we have a forensic laboratory to try and investigate these bodies that were coming from River Yala, we'll, as Kenyans, will feel we are satisfied because we have a Director General who is independent. But if you're telling us about investigations that is being carried out from your own security agencies, how do we know there is no cover-up of what was happening on River Yala? And again, will tell us why the National Coroner's Act has not been operationalized. Since also when, if I may remember, you may correct me as well, it was enacted up to now. We should be having a forensic laboratory that is well equipped and to have independent Coroner Director General.
You know, we can split hairs on this issue until the cows come home. The point is this, very plain and straightforward. You know, there's some strange imagination that people have that I'm not able to deal with. The law is as clear as it is. I didn't write it. And then second, when you go into an office, you act, as I said, responsibly. You ask yourself, what does the law allow me to do here? There are some cases where you will even suspect that this matter has been done by so-and-so, or it has gone this direction. You patiently say, the law requires me to investigate this matter and come to a conclusion on the situation. You see, all those issues you're asking me about the coroner's office, why it doesn't exist, and so on. I am not a minister. I am an ordinary individual. I left that docket 3 years ago.
Yes, you did, but of course, the act, even when the act came into place, you were not the minister then?
And then secondly also, please let's stick with the issue that we are dealing with first. The investigations that have happened, there are so many investigations that are not complete because of the complexities of the crimes that have happened before. I have often pointed this out and I'll point it out all the time. There is no minister who has powers to either expedite or take over the investigations themselves and go and do them because you are either unhappy about the pace that they are following or you know that they should be done in a particular way. We all submit ourselves to the law. And how we submit ourselves to the law is that the DCI opens the file and stays on the matter until they get the culprit. If the culprit include the minister is not above the law. He is punished or prosecuted. Honestly, I don't know what we are discussing on this matter because beyond the action of the National Security Council, there is nothing else the council could do at that particular time except insist on those investigations to be done. Mm-hmm. Crimes are not going to end today or tomorrow. They will be committed all the time. The question usually is, what did you do? Even all these matters on forced disappearances, the question the public keeps asking all the time is that, is due process being followed? Are investigations being done? Are we going to the logical conclusion of this matter?